We just got back from Sedona, Arizona, where many Western films were shot, including classics like Broken Arrow and Johnny Guitar. So it's been a while since I've been able to say, this is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today we're going to look at a film based on Greek mythology. Now, growing up, I was pretty obsessed with Greek mythology. I mean, you had brave heroes, you had gods, you had monsters. I mean, you even had a woman who had snakes for hair and would turn you to stone if you just looked at her. So what was not to like, right? And then in 1963, I came across this film, Jason and the Argonauts, and that blew my mind. Thanks largely in part to the incredible stop motion animation by Ray Harryhausen. So 5 stars for that one. And then as I got older, like many other people, I got into the more sophisticated work of Joseph Campbell and the PBS series, The Power of Myth. And that inspired me to start creating and teaching my own mythology class in high school, which I did for several years. So how does this film today stack up to the classic Jason and the Argonauts as far as the Greek mythology films go? Let's check it out. Today's film is Ulysses. It's from 1954, 94 minutes long, in color, in English and Italian. More about that later. And this is basically the Odyssey by Homer. So it's about Ulysses, king of Ithaca, who was coming back from the Trojan War, and he's trying to return home to his wife Penelope, and he is encountering various obstacles and having various adventures along the way. Kirk Douglas plays Ulysses. This is 6 years before he was in Spartacus. And he's very good in this. He's everything you want a Greek hero to be. He's strong, he's smart, he's cunning, he's kind of funny as well. You know, it's a one-dimensional character for the most part, and Kirk Douglas does a great job with it. Also in this film is Anthony Quinn in a much smaller role. He's one of the suitors who's trying to get Penelope's hand in marriage. And he's fine also. This was 5 years before the two of them were in Last Train from Gun Hill, which I talked about in another episode. And again, it's pretty one-dimensional character. Anthony Quinn, very authoritative on film as usual. Silvia Mangana is she's the Italian actress who plays Penelope, Ulysses' wife. She's gorgeous, and she's quite good in this as well. I'm not really familiar with her, but I did see in her filmography that she was in David Lynch's Dune in 1984. I don't know what part she had, but I thought that was kind of interesting. And again, her performance is very good, but again, it's a one-dimensional character. The best scenes for her and Kirk Douglas as far as their acting skills and emotional weight goes is near the end when Ulysses returns home, but she doesn't know it's him. He's in disguise. Now, I'm not even going to say spoiler alert. Come on, man. This thing was written in 7th century BC. And speaking of written, there were 7 screenwriters for this film. Now, usually that's a red flag that it's going to be a mess or disjointed or something. I didn't find it that way at all. I thought it held together quite well and it was pretty cohesive. The director was Mario Camerini, Italian director. I never heard of him, unfortunately. But the cinematographer was Harold Rawson. Harold Rawson, I was surprised to discover, was quite accomplished. He was a cinematographer for one of my favorite film noirs, The Asphalt Jungle. And, are you ready? He was the cinematographer for Singing in the Rain and The Wizard of Oz. So Ulysses begins with his wife Penelope waiting for him to return. Meanwhile, there's all these suitors, about a dozen of them, and they're trying to convince her that Ulysses is dead, and they want her hand in marriage because they want to be king of Ithaca. And all these suitors are total jerks. And Ulysses' son Telemachus is there too, and they're mean to Telemachus as well. And you just can't wait for Ulysses to return and get rid of all these guys because you despise them all. Then the story switches to Ulysses, and little flashbacks with him on the Trojan horse, and then he gets cursed by a god and he has amnesia. He can't remember who he is, where he came from, anything. So he's trying to remember, and as he remembers, we have flashbacks to his various adventures. And that leads to several set pieces in the film. The first one being with the Cyclops, And that is the, when I thought of this film, that's the first thing I think of is the Cyclops sequence, and it holds up very well. Another sequence is with the sirens, and they're on the ship. He and his men are on the ship, but Ulysses wants to hear the siren song, so they tie him to the mast of the ship so he can hear it. And then the next set piece is with this sort of witch-like character named Circe, and she's trying to seduce Ulysses and wants him to stay with her forever. And in fact, Circe is played by the same actress who plays his wife Penelope. And then finally, the last set piece is when Ulysses returns to Ithaca. He remembers who he is, and he defeats all the suitors and is reunited with Penelope. Now, as I was watching this, I was thinking, is this film supposed to be for kids or for adults, or maybe even for both? And I mean, I saw it as a kid, of course, growing up. And at the beginning, the dialogue can be very stilted and very unnatural. That's when Penelope is talking to her servants, and she's wondering if Ulysses will ever come back alive or not. But then that portion of the stilted dialogue ends pretty quickly. And so then it kicks into the Ulysses story. So I think anybody who likes Greek mythology, regardless of your age, you're going to like this one. I think it holds up very well in that regard. There are surprisingly a couple of adult references by some of the suitors, like kind of semi-sexual references that I was surprised, and of course went right over my head when I was a kid. And as far as the special effects go, it's mostly miniature work, but no stop motion, anything like that. And the effects are fine. There's nothing really laughable, maybe one part, but nothing really laughable. And you do get lost in the story. It's a good adventure story, and it's fun, and it's fast moving, and Kirk Douglas is a good Ulysses. So all those reasons, I'm going to give this one 4.5 eyeballs, because of the Cyclops, out of 5. Now, this is a Kino disc, and by the way, it looks really good, and it sounds really good as well. And you have a commentary, which of course I didn't listen to, and you have a few trailers on here for similar films. And then you have a choice. You can watch it with the English version or the Italian version. Now, when I watch foreign films, 99.999% of the time, I'm watching it in the original language. I'm not watching anything dubbed because it's just so distracting and awful. And I don't mind subtitles. I even watch films in English with the subtitles on so I can catch everything. But for this one, I went with the English version for a couple of reasons. Reason one was that's the version I saw growing up, so I wanted to kind of revisit that experience as seeing this as a kid. The other reason is I wanted to hear Kirk Douglas's and Anthony Quinn's real voices. And so the only way to do that is to watch the English version. Everybody else is dubbed, but their voices are their real voices. So I did switch over to the Italian version to see what it was like. And sure enough, Anthony Quinn and Kirk Douglas, their voices are in Italian, and it's not their voices at all. And how they do this when they're making the film, where you have the two of the main stars speaking English and everybody else is speaking Italian, I don't know how they pull that off, but I guess somehow they do. So where can you see this film? Well, you can rent it. I don't see it streaming anywhere right now. You can buy it. I bought this during one of the many Kino sales they have throughout the year. I think it was $10. Definitely worth it. I'm not sure what it's going for now, maybe 15 or so. And your local library is a good bet to have it because it's been around for so long. So will I see some other sword and sandal films now? Like I remember watching some Hercules films when I was growing up and some Samson films when I was growing up. So I'm kind of tempted to look into those too. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Ulysses, if you like Greek mythology, these types of films, I think you're really going to like this one. So feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down here. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Otherwise, hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.